a high school girl once fell in love with a dog. The descendants born from that relationship are now known as beastmen, a race that has long been despised by humans. On her way to school one day, Mari unexpectedly ran into a tall boy. Like her, he was about to be late. At first, Mari didn't get a good look at his face. It wasn't until he climbed up onto the school wall and reached out to pull her over that, beneath the cherry blossoms, she finally saw him clearly. Neither of them knew that this brief, accidental meeting would become the beginning of a relationship that crossed racial boundaries. The boy grabbed Mari's arm and effortlessly vaulted over the wall, landing inside the campus. It was Mari's first time being so close to a beastman, and fear surged through her almost instantly. But the boy misunderstood her reaction, thinking she was scared of the jump, and instinctively reached out to steady her. Back in the classroom, Mari immediately told her best friend what had happened. At the same time, the teacher made an announcement. A beastman student named Hidaka had been granted special permission to attend a human school. The classroom erupted. Hostility wasn't even hidden. Someone openly mocked Hidaka, asking what the difference was between him and a dog, and whether he was even capable of communicating in human language. Faced with the insults, Hidaka remained unusually calm. He simply said he had never seen a dog before, but that he could try to learn about them in the future. To outsiders, it looked like tolerance, but only Hidaka knew how much anger he was forcing himself to suppress. After school, because of his race, Hidaka was cornered by delinquents. Verbal abuse followed one after another. With no way out, he chose to climb over the fence to leave, only to be blocked by Mari, who suddenly appeared. Trying not to hurt her, Hidaka lost his footing and fell into the river. Mari realized immediately that he had fallen because of her. She waited on the riverbank for a long time, but he never surfaced. Assuming beastmen couldn't swim, Mari jumped into the river without hesitation, even though she herself couldn't swim. Just as her consciousness began to fade, Hidaka swam over and carried her back to shore. Afterward, Mari finally thanked him for what happened that morning. Worried that Hidaka might catch a cold, she brought him home. Her mother froze the moment she saw a beastman, but in the end, she didn't chase him away. She simply told Hidaka to go take a shower first. Even so, her mother was clearly afraid. Mari comforted her, saying that Hidaka was a kind person. At home, Hidaka quietly played with the family dog. He realized he couldn't communicate with it, but still felt a sense of comfort from their shared bloodline. It was then that Mari understood Hidaka was just a sensitive, gentle, ordinary boy. When Mari went to grab something from the bathroom, she accidentally ran into Hidaka, who was about to shower. She tried to leave immediately, but Hidaka began undressing. Since he was a beastman and still covered in fur, he assumed Mari wouldn't be embarrassed. But seeing his toned abs made Mari, in the middle of adolescence, blush uncontrollably. Later, when she reached for the laundry detergent and couldn't quite reach it, Hidaka helped her. The brief physical contact sent both of them into a panic. The next day, Hidaka's outstanding physical abilities made him shine during a basketball game. Mari, meanwhile, couldn't stop her eyes from following him. Her friends noticed something was off, but it was time to gather, so they decided to ask her about it later. The boys who lost to Hidaka already disliked beastmen, and the defeat only deepened their resentment. While Mari and Hidaka were putting away sports equipment, someone locked them inside the storage room and shoved a nearby pillar against the door, trapping them inside. Trying to protect Mari, Hidaka was injured. That accident brought them truly closer. Mari learned that Hidaka's dream was to become a doctor. In areas where beastmen lived, medical resources were almost non-existent. Enduring humiliation and suppressing his instincts were all for the sake of saving more lives. For the first time, Mari realized how precious the ordinary school life she took for granted was to beastmen. She quietly held Hidaka's hand. The reason was simple. They were friends. But once those words were spoken, her heartbeat refused to calm down. At that moment, another student noticed something was wrong and rushed over to rescue them. He shouted their names from outside the door. Hidaka regained his senses and was overwhelmed with guilt over his loss of control. He couldn't forgive himself, nor did he dare get close to Mari again. But the feelings he had suppressed had already taken root. When Ida pushed open the storage room door, Hidaka silently left. He couldn't accept that he had lost all reason in front of Mari, like a wild beast. Looking down at the bite marks he had left on his own arm, he knew very well that Mari's emotional trauma mattered far more. Meanwhile, Mari sat alone on the floor, replaying everything that had just happened. Fear was certainly there, but when Hidaka had restrained himself, she hadn't felt the rejection she expected. Not long after, Ida noticed Mari unconsciously touching her neck and asked with concern whether something had happened between her and Hidaka. Mari turned sharply toward him. Ida quickly explained that he didn't think Hidaka was a bad person, he just wanted to make sure they were okay. Those words made Mari pause. In the storage room, she hadn't rejected Hidaka's closeness, yet she had still made a choice that went against her instincts. Now, she wanted to face her feelings honestly. Gathering her courage, Mari confessed her thoughts to Ida. Ida froze for a moment, then showed a look of understanding. Mari patted her cheeks, trying to calm herself down. Just as Ida was about to ask more questions, he noticed movement outside the window. A group of students were tossing Hidaka's books around, laughing. Without hesitation, Ida pushed open the window and jumped straight into the crowd. He couldn't stand their blatant prejudice against beastmen. From a distance, watching Ida stand in front of Hidaka, Mari realized for the first time that she wasn't alone. However, the leader of the group refused to back down, claiming he was simply defending humanity's position. Before the words even finished leaving his mouth, he threw a book high into the air. As it was about to fly over the fence, Mari sprinted forward and caught it. Books continued to be thrown, and Ida alone couldn't stop them all. The leader shifted his target to Mari. Just as a book was about to strike her, Hidaka stepped forward. He stood in front of Mari and faced the group directly, calmly but sharply pointing out that they shouldn't blame beastmen for their own weakness. The words hit their mark. The leader's pupils shrank, his arrogance faltered, and he eventually left with the others. After it was over, Hidaka didn't relax. Instead, he sternly lectured Ida and Mari. Mari, saying there was no reason for them to put themselves in danger for his sake. Mari simply handed the book back to Hidaka and said seriously that it was something important to him. Being able to protect him, she added, genuinely made her happy. Faced with Mari's open, unguarded smile, Hidaka found himself at a loss for words. His face flushed as he quietly took the book. Ida casually slung an arm over Hidaka's shoulder and grinned, saying that from now on, they would get through their school days together. Before the sentence even finished, Hidaka lifted Ida onto his shoulder in retaliation. His words were still awkward, but his tail swayed uncontrollably from side to side. Ida immediately fought back, ruffling Hidaka's hair, while Mari watched the scene with unmistakable envy. After the brief horseplay, Mari spoke up, saying she wanted to help change people's prejudice against beastmen. Ida immediately agreed, insisting that everyone should see just how gentle and reliable Hidaka truly was. They exchanged a look, as if they had finally found real companions. Hidaka tried to object, but under the gaze of their shining eyes, he swallowed his words and reluctantly agreed. However, he added one condition: Mari should not be involved. Those words instantly dampened Mari's mood. She couldn't help wondering if it was because of what had happened in the equipment room. During class, Ida secretly passed them a note, inviting both of them to his house after school. Mari stared at the note again and again, then glanced at Hidaka. For the first time, she felt as though an invisible distance had formed between them. Ida had called them over precisely to resolve this tension. After sending his younger siblings away, Ida confronted Hidaka directly. With no choice left, Hidaka finally told the truth. Beastmen, he explained, were affected by instinct during certain periods. As a mixed blood, he theoretically shouldn't experience such reactions, yet that day, he found himself uncontrollably drawn to Mari. He was afraid that if they continued spending time together without understanding what was happening, he might someday hurt someone he cared about. After listening, Ida proposed a bold idea. He suggested recreating the situation in a controlled way to confirm whether it had truly been an accident. With that, he stepped outside and locked the door. Despite Hidaka's protests, Ida insisted that only by facing the issue directly could they resolve it. Mari also spoke up, saying she didn't want to keep distance based on fear or misunderstanding. She wanted to understand her own feelings before deciding how they should move forward. Ida was genuinely relieved to hear that. Inside the room, Hidaka warned Mari in a low voice that getting too close to him could be dangerous. But Mari simply smiled calmly, saying she trusted him, she believed he would never hurt her. That trust left Hidaka speechless. From outside, Ida listened nervously, until Hidaka called out, assuring him that if anything felt wrong, they would stop immediately. With that understanding, they proceeded carefully. Hidaka began with the safest option, lightly touching Mari's hand. After confirming that nothing felt out of control, he asked whether they should continue. Mari reached out and gently touched his ears and hair. The sensation was far softer than she had imagined. Hidaka stiffened for a moment, then steadied himself. Mari quickly withdrew her hand and apologized softly. Once he had calmed down, Hidaka asked if she noticed any scent. Mari thought for a moment and replied that it smelled faintly sweet. That answer was enough to confirm that something emotional, not dangerous, was at play. As they talked, Mari began to realize that what troubled Hidaka wasn't instinct alone, but feelings neither of them had clearly acknowledged. Hidaka, too, came to understand that avoiding the issue would solve nothing. Before things could become confusing again, Mari took a step back and suggested they stop for now. At that moment, Ida unlocked the door and came in. What he saw was a quiet, withdrawn Hidaka, and Mari with slightly disheveled clothes, both clearly shaken but unharmed. Hidaka muttered that if Ida had come any later, things might have been harder to explain. Though Hidaka was still uneasy about being close to Mari, remembering her words made him realize there was a way to face his feelings honestly. For his own sake, he knew he could no longer keep running away. No one had expected that the newly transferred Beastman student would take first place in the exams. With Hidaka's help, both Mari and Ida saw their grades improve significantly as well. Mari wanted to share her results with her friend, but Fumino's eyes were empty as she stared fixedly at the rankings. She even refused to let Mari come closer. The next moment, Fumino muttered that it would be better if all beastmen simply disappeared. But before that, Mari and Ida had already made a promise to work toward eliminating human prejudice against beastmen. The first step, they decided, was to have lunch together with Hidaka. Yet doing so also meant that Mari would inevitably create distance between herself and her friends.